Two Park University students and a professor are taking on a mission to right the wrongs of the past. They want to make sure African American soldiers from the Great War get the honor that they deserve. Here's KCTV 5's Leslie Aguilar.
375,000 African Americans put on a uniform and went to fight during the First World War.
I like to refer to them as the forgotten soldiers of a forgotten war.
Not one received the highest honor the United States can bestow for valor when they came home.
They weren't even mentioned on the national scale as being active in this war.
These two Park University students and their professor are doing a systematic review of military records. They're looking for soldiers who were denied a Medal of Honor based on race or religion.
There are records and documents from 1925 and a little bit previous from the United States Army Command staff that we would not repeat those words today, because they are very racist about African Americans in particular serving in the United States Army.
Tim Westcott is a veteran himself. So far, he and his students have identified 70 African American soldiers who were awarded a Distinguished Service Cross from the U.S., but no Medal of Honor. Some of them were even awarded France's equivalent of the Medal of Honor, the Croix de Guerre Palme. It's Josh Weston's job to look through military records from the U.S., France, and Germany to get a clear storyline of what each soldier did.
There are actions of certain soldiers who were severely wounded and still went out and were fighting for both the French and the Americans, for the Allied side, and given everything they had, even though they weren't, we'll just say, treated the greatest.
He's a veteran too. He says he wants credit given where it's due.
They fought beyond heroically, and we need to honor that.
It's hard work doing the research to prove what each soldier did 100 years ago and get enough information for the Department of Defense to review it. Ashlyn Weber says there's not much to go on when it comes to most black soldiers.
Most of them are from farmland. Their parents were slaves. They really have no history that's documented, so they don't have paperwork that defends who they are.
All three members of this task force were appalled to learn about the conditions many of the African American soldiers lived in before the war. Little to no education, poverty, segregation. Yet they crossed the ocean to defend their country and stand for freedom.
And then come home and not have any improvement in life. In some sense, life could be even worse because how you were affected by the war itself.
Westcott has contacted descendants of some of the soldiers they've identified so far, including the family of First Lieutenant Dr. Thomas Edward Jones.
I'm proud of my father and the job he did. I'm proud of my father and the life he made for himself and for us.
74-year-old Emma Lipsansky-Werner remembers her dad as a doting father, showing her around his D.C. area farm, often with his Italian-American best friend, pictured here.
Only later did I get the whole story from documents, not from my father. That Hat Roselli was the person my father saved his life during World War I.
Werner is a historian herself, writing books from what she learned about her father through his diary and other documents.
There are two places in his diary where he talks about racism in the Army. He recalled one white captain, and this is again a quote, the captain who called our boys God.
She's thankful for the Park University-led effort to tell stories of black soldiers like her father, but says she never felt like her father's service went unnoticed. He came home to a grateful church community, a Victorian house in the D.C. area, and a loving family.
I suspect that this was not the only situation. I suspect that this is a snapshot of something that was not universal, but not unusual.
He even noted in his diary comments made by a top World War I colonel in France.
These black boys never flinched nor showed the least sign of fear. They will go down in history as brave soldiers.
She knows not all black soldiers came home to a pleasant life, though. Even some who fought with valor worthy of our nation's top honor. It's those soldiers this small task force hopes to identify.
Many of these guys have been ignored before up until this point and really deserve to have attention given to them.
We're going to right the wrongs and not allow it to happen again.
In Parkville, Leslie Aguilar, KCTV 5 News.